We share a lot of stories on our channel, and some of them sound a little bit crazy. And this might be one of the craziest sounding ones of all, and this is Rachel's, and she hasn't shared this publicly with anybody yet.
So stick around if you want to hear it. Okay, I have kept this one super close to my heart because it is kind of crazy, right? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but it was so impactful in my connection journey that I don't know. I guess I just didn't want to hear anybody else's opinion of it. It was just so special to me that I just didn't want anybody else to muddy it up. And now I'm just feeling nudged to share it. I feel safe in this community space, and really if anybody has a problem with it, I'm beyond that. I'm okay with it. So here it is. A few years ago, I was putting my little boy down for a nap, and I was lying down on a bed that's in his bedroom while he was in his crib. I was awake. I wasn't meditating or anything. I was wide awake on my phone, just scrolling on social media because he was having a hard time falling asleep and he wasn't letting me leave the room. You know, he was getting more upset when I tried to leave. So I just laid down and I'm scrolling through things, and I come across this video that I wish I could show you guys here, but I don't think we'd be allowed to do that. But it's an interview that Shia LaBeouf, the actor from Peanut Butter Falcon and Transformers and things like that, he did this interview where he's talking about suffering, and he's talking about the purpose behind our pain and suffering. And if you can find joy in your suffering or through the suffering, and if you can help other people because of your suffering and help them find joy, like that's the maximum point of being human. Like that's the best thing that we could do, is what he's saying. That's what makes us human.
Yeah, he talks about how he used to think of it as if he got this or got that, or he dated this girl or whatever, that would bring him happiness, or this possession, you know, or he made this amount of money or whatever, that would bring him happiness and joy.
And he said that the real trick is that we're all going to suffer. He says that that's what makes you human. And if you can find the joy in the suffering, that's the trick, right? So I'm listening to this, and of course that was a summary. He said it way more eloquently than I did.
Yeah, you can look it up. It's on YouTube. Like just do a search and it'll pop up.
Yeah. And so anyways, I listened to it and I thought, wow, you know, I listened to the whole interview. I really felt something in my heart as I was listening to the interview. And instantly I sent it to you. I forwarded it to my husband, and I said, you know, I think you might like this too. And I sent it along. And then I went to keep scrolling, and I heard in my mind, which that's what living connected is like. It's like a thought just pops into your mind. And it was listen to it again. And I knew. I was like, oh, something like fun or magical is about to happen. You just get this feeling. So I pressed play. I closed my eyes. I was still wide awake for this whole experience, but I closed my eyes and I listened to the interview one more time. And as I'm hearing his words and he's talking about suffering, I start seeing something in my mind. And I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what, but I know that it's important that I realize that I'm on this grassy hill and it's overlooking this like city of some sort. But like I said, I had no idea where I was at. But it was a grassy hill. And then I looked over, and this is the part where it gets a little bit hard to share this, but I saw the cross and I saw Jesus up on the cross, and I was at the base of the cross looking up at him. And I, in that moment, could feel his suffering. All I wanted to do was to help him. And I knew that there was nothing I could do. He told me that there was nothing that I was supposed to do or nothing that I could do to save him. But like I said, in that moment, I was like feeling his pain, and I was feeling the pain of everyone that loved him. And it was a lot. And, the Shia LaBeouf's voice is still in my head. He's talking about suffering and the purpose of suffering. And I'm looking up at Jesus on the cross. And like I have shared in other videos, I am not religious. I was not raised with any sort of religious beliefs, and I'm not a part of an organized religion now, but I have felt connected to Jesus in my spiritual practices. So I had seen him before. I had in meditations, energy sessions, but nothing like this had ever come to my mind. And it went from me feeling his suffering to me feeling his peace. He was still on the cross, but this overwhelming peace came over me as I was looking at him, and I'm bawling in real life, and I'm bawling in this vision that I'm seeing, but all of a sudden there's peace around it, and I can feel his understanding of why he went through what he went through, and I can see the purpose behind it, like this greater purpose, and it was really overwhelming to feel that. But what happened next really shocked me, because, I'm looking up at him, and I'm feeling this peace and this understanding. And then it changed from him to it being my daughter, who was already across the veil. She passed away from cancer when she was 10. And I saw her up on the cross, but I didn't feel any of her suffering at all. I just got to continue to feel that peace as I was looking at her, and she's like looking at me and she's smiling even though she's up on the cross. I felt the understanding and the purpose behind her suffering here on earth, and the suffering that I have. And I understood the purpose behind the pain. And the vision kept going back and forth from Jesus to Kenadie. And so it was him up on the cross, and then it would be her on the cross. And that went on back and forth for a few minutes. And then Shia's voice stopped. And, that was the end of the vision. And I grabbed my little boy out of the crib. He wasn't asleep yet, but we were done trying to do the nap. And I came out into the living room, and I found my husband, and I told you about the experience that I just had. And then I said, I'm going to go for a drive. And I took my little guy for a drive. And I remember calling my friend on a speakerphone, or maybe I actually think I texted her before I took off for the ride. And she's religious. And I asked her if Jesus, I knew I was supposed to ask about the grassy hill. I was like, because in my mind, I didn't know where Jesus was crucified, but it didn't make sense that I didn't even know the city or the town that he was crucified near or in. I knew nothing. So I asked her, where he was crucified, and if he happened to be up on a grassy hill. And she was like, yeah, I think that's pretty well known. And she said that her mom's favorite hymn is something like, I'll meet you on top of the grassy hill, or something along those lines. So it's pretty well known that that's where he passed, or at least that's the story that we've heard. And she said it was Jerusalem. And anyways, that was all very interesting to us. My little guy in the car, his name is Salem. And when I came home and I was like, he passed away in Jerusalem, and Shane was like, oh, that's interesting. Salem's name is inside of the word Jerusalem. And we were like, that's because we felt very guided to his name. So that felt kind of weird and random. And then I walk into the bedroom, and I'm thinking about, as I'm walking back into my bedroom, I'm thinking, I wonder if they know who was at the foot of his cross. And just because that's where I was standing, I was looking up, and I was like, I wonder if that's in the books, or the Bible or whatever. And I was just curious. That's the thought that came to my mind. And I walked into the bedroom, and my eyes were drawn over to my dresser, which is over to my right. And I pull oracle cards in the morning. That's just something that I do often. It helps me feel connected to my team and to my daughter across the veil. And I just ask for guidance for the day. And that day there was one card that was sitting on top of the dresser. And I looked over and I knew that I needed to walk over and look at it again. And I went over and I looked, and the name on the card was Mary Magdalene. And I didn't know who that was when I drew the card. I'd never heard of her before. And it says, Teacher awakens. It says, you have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. And I just really liked the message of the card. But when I looked at the card again, I just knew. I was like, no way. Like, is that even possible? And I Googled who was at the foot of Jesus's cross, and it was like the three Marys, I think. So I think it was his mom, some other Mary, and Mary Magdalene. And for me, that was just confirmation that the visual was real. Like, I really connected with him, and he really shared, like, allowed me to feel that comfort and that peace in the suffering. And that was the card that was waiting for me on the dresser to help confirm that everything that happened was real. And then a couple days later, I mean, I'm just thinking about this experience nonstop. And a few days later, I hear, like, look at the time. That's what I heard. It was, look at the time. And I knew that it was, look at the time that you found the video, the Shia LaBeouf video. And I was thinking, how in the world will I know what time that I saw that? There's just no way that I could ever figure that out. And so I looked back at, like, when I texted my friend, which was a few minutes after, it was in the 4:00 hour. And I thought, there's no way for me to really narrow it down. And then it just dawned on me that I sent you the video right after I watched it. And the video lasts for like a little bit over 2 minutes. And I sent it to you at 4:13, which means that I was watching it at 4:11. And the number 4:11 has been our sign for our higher purpose and for the journey that we're on, the spiritual path that we're on. It's like 4:11 has just felt like the thing that's been guiding us the whole time. And so when I realized that video found me at 4:11, it was just further confirmation that it really was a real experience.
Yeah.
That one's a special one for me. And it's one that I will never forget. And, like, nobody can take that from me. And that's what I hope for everybody on their connection journey. I hope that they have experiences that maybe don't make sense, or that they can't explain, or that seem too mystical or magical or whatever to be real. And other people will probably poo-poo it, or, call you crazy or whatever. But I hope that you have the trust in your heart that none of that matters.
Yeah. In the story, sure, she talks about how Jesus is involved in this story, but that doesn't mean that our suffering and any normal person's suffering that we don't know isn't that same story. Like, our suffering with losing our daughter, we're creating this channel in our community we created, and we're doing it to help other people who are suffering. So it's like there's a purpose behind that suffering. So I think if you guys watch that clip of Shia or whatever, I think a lot of you will be like, wow, that's a really powerful message. And I think that there's some comfort in that knowing that our suffering isn't for nothing. There is a reason for it. There is a purpose behind it. And if we can be strong enough to figure out what that is and believe in our hearts that it is serving a greater good of some kind, it won't make it not hurt anymore and not painful, but it will make us think that there's a reason for it, and it's not just pointless suffering. And I think that is enormous for anybody who's going through a hard thing. If you can see that maybe there's a reason for it, or believe that I'm going to grow from this, or the typical, like, cliche sayings that you hear, like, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, or whatever. I mean, there are some truth to those things. As annoying as some of those things are to hear, like, there is some truth in there. And if we can be strong, and we can use our suffering to make ourselves stronger and to drive us to search for what the purpose behind that suffering is, like it's enormous. It's huge. It's I think that's why we're here. I think that's why you got that message and you saw it as Kenadie, because her suffering, we're using it for a purpose for the greater good. So I think any of you out there that are suffering, I hope you hear that message and it gives you a little bit of hope that you're not alone, and that if you dig deep and you really try to figure out a way to use it to help others, like Shia was saying, that
brings joy.
That brings joy. And like that is true joy. Like true joy, when you feel like you're helping somebody else, that's when you feel that true joy. It's not in the stuff, you know. There's a difference. There's being happy and there's being excited about things, but that feeling of true joy is really different, and it's really hard to find, you know. So
it's like finding purpose in the pain is, I think, important for healing. And it doesn't mean you need to create 411. Your purpose through pain or from pain is going to be very uniquely your story. And if you feel called to it, it's for a reason. But it can be such a simple thing that you do that brings you that feeling. It doesn't have to be some big grandiose thing.
No.
And so, and you don't compare yours to somebody else's. We're all doing something different, but I really do feel like this is helping me with my grief journey 100%.
Yeah, it's changed everything.
If you feel like you were guided to this channel because you've been through something really hard and you've felt like there's a way to help others because of your story, do it. Share it. Put the video out there. Be cringy. Cry in front of people. Yeah. I mean, laugh in front of people. Share all of it. Like, I don't know. I'm just here to inspire you guys and give you a little bit of hope that it will help you heal.
Yeah. And as silly as it sounds, like, we do it just by people hearing your story of suffering helps them feel more joy, because as silly as it sounds, we're always comparing our situations to other people's situations. And when you hear something that somebody else is going through, and it's so much worse than the thing that you're so worried about and suffering through, it makes you feel a little bit better. I mean, not that you want to hear about that their suffering is worse than yours, but it makes yours feel a little bit lighter sometimes. So.
Right. Like, you just realize how strong you are. Yeah. Like, I'm capable of carrying this.
I can get through this.
Like, I can get this.
They're dealing with that. It's like, I can get through this, you know? So It's just like, even sharing what's going on in your life is helpful to people if you're going through a hard time, because somebody else might see that and be like, oh, wow, they're out here sharing this hard thing they're going through, and I'm hung up on this thing. Like, I got this. You know what I mean? It's like, that is helping that person find their joy again or get through their hard thing. So, yeah.
And I think that's why we're here. Mm-hmm. This quote kept popping in my head the whole time you were talking. I'm going to share it right now. And I can't remember if it was Mark Twain's quote or not. That's just popping in my head, but it could be wrong. I also like a lot of Einstein quotes, but it's the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And that just popped into my head so strong when you were talking, because I really do think that if you believe that you came here to go through the struggles that you go through, which that's what we believe we chose this before we came here, because there's no way the human side of us would ever choose this path. But we think we chose it before we came here, and we're finally figuring out why we're here, why we're on this journey. And when you find out your why, it's powerful. So go find your why.
Yeah, your why might be what's missing.
Yeah. So anyways, that's it.
All right.
We're going to go work on our whys. Yeah, have a great day. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody. We appreciate you a ton for watching our videos. See you next time. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. We just want to take a quick minute to talk about our 411 community that we launched recently.
This is a space that we wished existed after our daughter Kenadie passed away. Inside is everything that we've learned about in these last 8 years about living connected to our daughter across the veil and to the rest of our spirit team that's just waiting to help us. And we have found out that everybody can live connected. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can check out the community at 411together.com. It's something that we wanted to make accessible to everybody that's out there.
There is a cost. It's only $4.11 per month. Just to keep that program rolling. If you guys want to check it out, we appreciate it so much, even if you just want to look into it. We think it's a really valuable tool. You can also follow all of our free content here on YouTube or on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We also have a free guide that we're offering that you can find
down in the description with all the other links. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it more than you guys know.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys a ton. We couldn't do this without you.